The handle itself is quite rugged and strong because we've got a lot of bending moment on it, but it's also solid, so we have weight here which is balancing somewhat the weight of the rods. And on the very deep set Indian Mark II, they have weights on the handle to try and balance the rods, rather like on a seesaw, so we're only lifting the water. So that's it for the India Mark II, but I just want to say a little bit about the India Mark III. The India Mark III has a very similar pump head, but it has an open top cylinder. The bottom part of it is very similar to the India Mark II, but at the top, rather than the reducer, which I've seen before, which stops us pulling the insides out, we have an open top cylinder. So rather than a small diameter galvanized iron pipe, we have a large diameter galvanized iron pipe, which is very heavy. And that's one of the problems with the India Mark III, is that you can't go to the very deep depth, which is where you'd like to use it, because the threads on the pipe actually fail. So maybe you can't go much deeper than about 25 meters with that. And the idea is that we are trying to avoid having to pull out all those pipes and pulling out the foot valve, because we can just pull on the piston all the way up, disconnect the rods until we get the piston to the surface, and then we can replace the components on the piston which may have become worn, which will be mainly the seals on the piston and the rubber on the piston valve. But having removed that, we've still got the foot valve down the bottom of the borehole at the bottom of the cylinder. So this piston is designed with a screw on it, so this can be put down and extended beyond the normal point of operation to hit the foot valve. Then by rotating the rod, or the whole string of rods, we can screw those together. Applying enough weight, we can pull the foot valve out. So all the working parts below water level can be brought up to the surface. The foot valve has a rod on it, so that when we screw these together, that rod will open this valve so the water can pass through the valve and we're not having to lift the water. We'll screw those two together. It has now lifted the valve up. There's now a gap under this valve, so we could pull this through the pipe up to the surface. The water can pass through this valve and it passes around the outside of the foot valve housing. With the India Mark III also, there's many parts, brass parts, so it's quite an expensive thing to produce. There is a version which has a simpler brass components to it. So this is a one-piece brass piston, unlike this one which has many pieces to it. So instead of this component, we can have this component which is designed for use in plastic pipe. It's using a different cylinder, and this is also being used on the Afridev pump. Likewise, the foot valve, rather than the many parts here, is a one piece of brass with a rubber poppet valve in the middle of it. So thank you for logging in to look at this video. We do encourage you to look at the other videos in this series. Do look at the RWSN website and the WEDC website, and you find other useful information there. Thank you.